Utrecht, and they did a lecture there. There is a video of it that I think somebody can post in the chat for people to go watch the full video of the lecture. This picture here of the traction actually grabbed me because we had Farrington at our farm, and he was at the University of Utrecht when he broke his leg at Kobe von Ballen's for a month in traction. And so I thought this kind of touched me a little bit. Go on to the next one. So they talk, I just have a few points that I'll throw in there that I thought were interesting. They talked about a semen evaluation, what was good, what was bad, and this was a nice little chart to show where the dividing line was when they do the morphology. Many of us talk about looking at the percentage of progressive motility, but nobody really asks about morphology of semen, and it really makes a difference on whether mares get pregnant or not. Most of the time when people are, I know with VDL, with all the VDL semen that we do, that they do take into account morphology when they're deciding what a dose size should be as far as how many straws. Next slide. So this one I thought was interesting because I know that all the stallions, they have to get the semen quality done, and this is the range that they do for motility and morphology. And the advice if you ever look at one of the stallions and it says what their quality of semen is, I'm sure insufficient is not good at all, and you probably won't see that, but moderate, sufficient, and you see actually a lot of good in the approved stallions. Next slide. Did we jump one or not? Okay. So then, yeah, so they talked a lot about different ways of breeding the mare other than the regular breeding, and one of it was embryo transfer, which I think some of you guys have done, where you flush the mare, the embryo, and you put it in a recipient. You have to manage the mare herd and stuff like that. We are now freezing embryos, a lot of people now, so that you don't have the time with the herd, but that's handy. Next slide. And then they did talk a lot about in vitro, which is the ICSI process, where they actually go take the oocytes out of the mare and then seminate with one sperm. It could be for problems with mares being bred, or problem stallion semen that you can use to do this process. Next slide. And again, like with a lot of people, I've done this of freezing embryos, which I found very helpful for me because I didn't have to rent a mare. I find a recipient, and then the embryo can be put in the mare when the recipient is ready. So it's a lot cheaper for the overall process. Next slide. And they gave us a lot of good statistics about that. The OPU means when they actually take the oocytes out of the mare. And then they gave this about the donor age. I just got done doing my mare at 24 years old, so we did get an embryo out of her, so that's interesting for me. Last year and 2 years ago we got 3 embryos, so looking at these statistics is very interesting too, that at least 1 year I was above the statistics. So, but if you're looking at doing this, it's interesting to know as you get older, it definitely goes down. Next slide. Again, another one, again, the pregnancy rate from the mares that are of that age. So it does, it actually stayed pretty consistent once they got the embryo. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Next slide. And then they said about the health of the foals that are coming from ICSI. Seems to be pretty normal, I think, from most foals. I mean, of the 193 that they did, 190 were healthy, and only one was in the NICU, and 2 stillborns. So I thought that was pretty good, and I think most of them were from approved stallions and 5-star level bloodlines. Next slide. And one thing I found out in doing the ICSI process, I had no idea that if you get by an embryo, there is a possibility it will split into twins. I didn't know that until we were going to check the mare, and they said, oh yeah, we have to watch for twins. This is something that's happening with ICSI. And I guess it's a, well, 1.6%, but it's something that does happen, and people that are looking into that need to know that. Next slide. And then again, this is, for the development of the stages of when they freeze the embryo or when they actually use it. If they, sometimes you can get the embryo and put it right into a mare. But as they get older, the older embryos are lower rate. And those of you that might be going out to buy a frozen embryo to put in a mare and stuff, if that is very popular, you might ask, what day was it frozen at, or, for that, that's good information to know here, because the 9-day embryos and the ones that we did at New Bolton, they don't even freeze them. They throw them out, but some places do freeze them at 9 days.